Today I'm going to talk some House of the Dragon Season 3 news and Knight of the Seven Kingdoms news. So let's start with Season 3 of House of the Dragon. Season 3, premiering next year, 2026, will be filming from March to October this year, which means major spoilers are going to start leaking during filming in a month or so. So try to avoid spoilers if you don't want to know what's happening, even though it's all laid out in A World of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood. According to showrunner Ryan Condal, Season 3 will have the same cadence as Season 2, so expect 8 episodes, even though Season 3 is taking 2 more months to film than Season 2. The reason for that is probably all the battles, and I think that makes sense to spend an extra couple months more than what they did on Season 2. New information has come out why Season 1 was 10 episodes and Season 2 only 8. Warner Media was concerned about the strikes in Hollywood during the filming of Season 2 and really wanted House of the Dragon Season 2 to premiere in the summer. Of course, the cost-cutting at all costs, sinking Warner Media CEO Zaslav, also wanted to save money, and cutting down on episodes was a really good way to do that. We also were informed that we have a new director for Season 3, 𝒊𝘲𝑃EZ, who has worked on HBO programs and some shows you might know like Supernatural and the next season of The Last of Us. Heck, we even got a new casting for Season 3. Otto Hightower's nephew, the current head of House Hightower, 𝑒ommund Hightower, has been cast and will be played by James Norton. This is the son of Hobart Hightower, who has since passed away during the time of the dance. Now keep in mind, they did sort of alter a little bit of House Hightower's family history to make him a son of 𝑒ommund, if you're getting a little bit confused. Next, Tom talked a little bit about his character Aegon in Season 3, sharing, "He's on a new chapter. I think he's way more focused, driven version of Aegon than we've seen. I haven't yet read the Season 3 script, so it's difficult to say what the writers have discussed, what they've decided on. I'm assured there's a lot to come. I've had a little chat about the arc and how excited I should be about taking it on. I think we'll see a different version of him, which is quite exciting. We've seen how much he wants it, and how much he craves validation and a pat on the back from people. When he doesn't get that, all hell breaks loose." Yeah, given he hasn't seen the scripts, I think this is just him kind of guessing. Also, he talked to the showrunner a bit about the future of his character, so he's sort of hinting at what's going to happen, but it's not 100% guaranteed. Next, Tom Taylor has been posting about hitting the gym, so there is a possibility we will see Cregan Stark again in Season 3. Probably still on the march south, as he doesn't have a lot to do until the end of the dance. I'm sure they could do a simple little flash over to him to show that the Northerners are still heading down south. Next, let's talk a little bit of the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. So George R. R. Martin updated us on a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and it's good news. He wrote, "A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms for start, it's done. Ira and his team wrapped the first season months ago and moved right on to post-production. I've seen all 6 episodes now, the last 2 in rough cuts, and I love them. Dunk and Egg have always been favorites of mine, and the actors we found to portray them are just incredible. The rest of the cast are terrific as well. Wait until you guys meet the Laughing Storm and Tansel Too-Tall." Yeah, George giving his stamp of approval and being excited for a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms live-action adaptation should get you super hyped. As we know, George is very clear and very honest about his dislike for making too many changes from his source material. He also went on to talk a little bit more about A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms and how non-stop action fans might not like it, sharing, "A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is an adaptation of The Hedge Knight, the first of the novellas I wrote about them. It's a faithful as adaptation as a reasonable man could hope for, and you all know how incredibly reasonable I am on that particular subject. Viewers who are looking for action and only action, well, this one may not satisfy you. There's a huge fight scene here, as exciting as anyone could ask for, but there are no dragons this time around, no huge battles, no White Walkers. This is a character piece, and its focus is on duty and honor, on chivalry and all it means. The Hedge Knight was published between A Game of Thrones and A Clash of Kings in Robert Spielberg's epic anthology Legends, and was so popular that it brought tens of thousands of new readers to Westeros. Sales on my novels were much higher after Legends than before. This one ranks as one of the best stories I've ever written, and I am so pleased that Ira Parker and our astonishing cast and crew did right by them." Yeah, again, so much high praise from George has me just so excited, and I don't like nonstop action in my shows, so it's even more assured that this is a character piece and not just bam wham fighting everywhere. Dunk and Egg are a bit more nuanced than constant battle. George also gave us a release date-ish for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, telling us, "The series will make its debut late this year. I am now told. How late? I could not say. Maybe in the fall. I hope you will love the show as much as I do." We're getting so spoiled with A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms in the fall of this year, maybe, and House of the Dragon Season 3 next year. Lastly, George shared that they are now writing for the second story, or Season 2, and when he'll work on the next Dunk and Egg, writing, "Meanwhile, we've been moving on to The Sworn Sword, the second tale of Dunk and Egg, and once I finish The Winds of Winter, I will need to get hopping on The Village Hero, and all the other tales that await the lads. Don't worry, I'm sure you folks will remind me." So it still sounds like he's going to work on Dunk and Egg, The Village Hero after Winds, but before he starts A Dream of Spring, which I'm sure will just delight everybody that's been on his case about finishing the A Song of Ice and Fire series. Lastly, Emma D'Arcy talked a lot about Rhaenyra and Daemon and their dynamics, so I'm gonna go through it. It's kind of long, just fair warning. So Emma D'Arcy shared about the character Rhaenyra and also the dynamic between Rhaenyra and Daemon, saying, "That scene was a real joy to shoot, where he reaffirms his commitment to her. You sort of see this moment of reunification in both of them. Something that I realized in the second series was that their relationship only functions when they are in positions of power and confidence. Their erotic energy is dangerous, it's bloodthirsty, it's about power. If they're in a state of need or weakness, their relationship doesn't work. They can't speak to each other. They can't reveal that stuff. I suppose what strikes me is, as much as that scene was super exciting to shoot, there's surely way more to discuss. There's a lot more to say." This absolutely fits with Daemon lusting for Rhaenyra since the beginning. He wants power and the throne. We also see that he makes compromises, and he steps down a bit when he actually is in power. An example, him taking off his crown and saying, "Hey, I'm no longer the king of the Stepstones, the narrow sea." Emma also talked about Rhaenyra being changed by the end of the series and where we'll see her in season 3, stating, "I think Rhaenyra is quite a changed character by the end of the second series. I think her relationship to her name, to her Targaryen history, to her faith even, has shifted in a massive way. I think she's less compromising now. The truth is, I wait in anticipation to find out what they've written. But I can't imagine that, given all the events that transpired in the second series, she wouldn't need to keep him on a short leash." Yeah, it would be nice for her to be all business in season 3, unlike what we saw in season 2, especially with the ending of season 1, where it looked like she was gonna go all fire and blood, and then season 2 was nothing. Emma also shared about the scene where she confronts Daemon for hiring an assassin for an eye for an eye, a son for a son, saying, "For the first time, I think she sees him properly. It's hard. When you meet someone and you're younger, they take on a greater size. And there's a mystification that takes place just because we look up to people who are older than us. They have broader experience. I think in that argument, and after the death of baby J.Aerys, I think she sees him. I think she sees his flaws. She sees his vulnerability. She sees his denial. And it's hard. It's almost like suddenly she outgrows him. Well, she outgrows the conceit. She outgrows the conceit of Daemon Targaryen." I'd like to add she probably sees Daemon how Daemon's brother Viserys saw him, and why the late king was loath to give Rhaenyra to Daemon as a bride. He knew what his lust for power could lead, and it was a path Viserys was trying desperately to avoid. But then Team Green made it a path they had to take. Good job, Team Green. Emma touched on their dysfunctional relationship as well, telling, "I think they are quite profoundly connected characters, even when they're at distance. And they sort of live in a strange counterpoint, and part of that is jealousy, and part of it's envy, and part of it's pride. And I suppose something that I really noticed this season was that they are totally incapable of sharing their own weakness. This is not a sort of healthy relationship in which those parties are communicating. Their erotic energy, their strength, their sort of romance can only operate in quite specific circumstances. And we meet them both at the beginning of the series in a state of grief they can't share. They're both sort of shut down. And I suppose what I noticed about their reunification at the end of the series is that Rhaenyra certainly is sort of back inside her love language, or her erotic language rather. She's finally moving towards a state of political and personal emotional power. With Rhaenyra at the height of her power and being set to go all out, we'll see how their relationship dynamic is in season 3. They might butt heads on how to attack, or maybe provoke each other into doing more dangerous stunts. I think Daemon's going to like season 3 Rhaenyra much more than he likes season 2 Rhaenyra. Funny enough, Emma also spoke on that, saying, "I'm sort of waiting also to find out how that now resolves, because in the series we see this moment where he confirms that he's raised an army in her name. Okay, great. I feel like there's more to say. There's a bigger conversation to be had, and I mean, I really like the shorthand of Rhaenyra sort of threatening that he better never leave her again, and he sort of says, I can't. I've tried. So I sort of wonder what the quality of their reunification will be going forward. I am very curious to see how their relationship in season 3, especially if Nettles is involved, how that kind of changes them. So yeah, that's your House of the Dragon and a Knight of the Seven Kingdom news. Like, subscribe, come back for more videos.